Hello, this is Victor at RestoreYourMercedes.com. This video is for Ivan in state of Washington, and this is the throttle body from S-class, based by the part number, ASR model, and it's repaired and being bench tested at the moment. Just want to show you the test and a couple of things to say about this unit. Now, it's been energized for quite a few hours. As you can see, it gets to like 90s, 96, 98, 97. It's cooler right now in New York here, so obviously it doesn't get to like 120 or anything like that. But as you can see, it hits 90s, whereas this unit that was not energized is about 69. So it has been working for quite a long time. You cannot have this unit to be this warm within a few minutes. It has to be few hours. So that is that. Now, second thing, the activation, of course, you know, it works well. You know, as you can see it just fine. The underside of the unit, this is how it looks under the unit. So it cleaned off quite well. It's there's a little more clean, you know, it's a little more, just hold it, I'm gonna show you internals. There's a little bit more of the cleaning had to be done here because I wanted to polish the surface a little more, so it just cleaned off one area more than others. Now, that is that. The problem that I had here, which was a little it was a little extra kind of problem here, is that, I don't know if I can show it to you, but I might. So somebody who opened this unit, they tried to see inside, I assume. So they were trying to open it from this area right here, it looks like, because you see there is a little bit of a damage area here. I cleaned it off already, so it's not as pronounced, but you can see the bend right in this area. Because you gotta be careful when you open these. Also, in the case, this is where they try to pry it open, right in this area. By doing that, I guess they went deep and they damaged the ribbon cable. See, that's the ribbon cable down under there. So that one is broken. So what I did is, I had to do hardcore way, is I had to just double ribbon cable connections with physical cables, because I didn't want to take any chances. Once ribbon cable is not intact, see the wires over there, those cables in there, those are extra wires that go inside the throttle itself. These wires go outside. Those wires go from one board to the potentiometer, to the heart. So doubled all the wires, because if ribbon cable is not intact, if it has a little crack, the crack would develop because it's plastic. So there's possibility of ribbon cable slowly but surely breaking all the way. So at this point, this one was broken on 4 pins, but I doubled all of them. So 4 that were bad, and then the other 5 I just doubled. They're still connected to ribbon cable, but the other ones are not. So even if it breaks off completely, our wires are doubling everything. So that was important, because if I only do 4, then again, because the ribbon cable already has damage to it, the split, it might develop. It's just like it's plastic. The plastic tends to continue to spread and crack further and further. It's like convertible top windows. If you see a little crack, it will develop. So that was that. It is repaired, and as you can see, unit energizes just fine. Now let's take a look at the readings, what this unit shows on our computer here. Come on, buddy. Okay. It takes a while. This is old school stuff, so therefore don't mind, you know, just delays and whatnot. 4.24, 4.25 is what I usually see on these units. 4.49 is also what I usually see on S-class units connected to this particular e-gas module. On different cars, different e-gas modules are programmed differently, so the readings might be different as well. So that's not, this is the baseline for me, because I know what this e-gas module is set to be on idle, and any any throttle body that I connect to it always give out this particular reading. That's how it's programmed. Now, second thing is micro switch locations. On off, on idle. Once we open the throttle, they change over to off on. So micro switches work just fine. And last, as you see, voltage is changed when throttle plate is open, because potentiometers read just fine, and that's how it's supposed to be. The more it opens, the more of the change we see in voltages. They're not necessarily to be exactly mirror image of each other at wide open throttle and idle. That's not that. That's just never do that. As you can see, this is wide open throttle, and voltages change each and every time I move the actual throttle linkage. So as you can see, I can get it to different voltages, and that's how exactly it's supposed to work. So we're pretty good in this department. As you can see, again, voltages go and change, and more you move the throttle, the more they change. Okay, so, and that's idle. Micro switch is changed and voltages go back to the baseline. Okay, so this is basically going to cover it. I'm going to finish the connector, and I close up the cover. Just wanted to show the wiring that I had to do on this second wiring set, but it should be okay. The gasket came with this unit. The gasket is undamaged. I'll add it back to the throttle. I'll just attach it with some tape. If you wish to replace, reuse this gasket, that's fine. I mean, it's not really bad. Let me take a look. Let me show you the gasket real quick. So here's the gasket. So basically, they're really some sort of synthetic material or whatnot, gasket material that does not really compress. So it's not like rubber or anything, or paper that compresses over time. This is kind of like different. So it is undamaged. So if it's not cracked or split or anything like that, I usually reuse them. Just torque everything down. But if I see any kind of signs of deterioration, then I do not reuse it. I do not use silicone. I just go dry. Some mechanics use silicone. Yes, that's fine if you want to, but never on the intake side, only on the throttle body side, because if you need to remove it, you'll be scrubbing off silicone off your intake manifold for a long, long time. Not a cool job at all. Not fun at all. Has a little bit of, well, anyway, the gasket is a couple of dollars. It's like $2-3. You can always buy a new one. That's fine. But if you don't have it, I would really not recommend making your own gasket out of paper, because paper collapses. It just squashes and it just deforms. Whereas these gaskets do not. So paper gaskets, they do. So I just did the throttle bodies on V12, and one of them had self-made paper gasket, and the bolts were like loose because it compressed, and the whole throttle was not even tight on it. Somebody used very thick rubber, not very thick paper gasket, and basically it compressed half its way, so there was basically no tension on bolts that hold throttle body to intake manifold. I just undid them by hand, and they were on the car for a couple of months only. So therefore, that's not a good idea. So these kind of gaskets is what you use. Again, I'm not the chemist or anything. I don't know what the composition of this thing, but yeah, I'll put them together. Alright, so I know it became a long video, but this one is not everyday throttle. This is just a little bit different, so therefore it is a little longer. Alright, so this is going to be all. This is Victor at RestoreYourMercedes.com. Thank you for watching.